What's good, YouTube? My name is Nate from the Scrub Academy, and today I'm bringing you my FLUFFAL deck post-Fusion Enforcers. Now, I know Fusion Enforcers has been out for a while now, and a lot of people have been posting deck profiles, but I wanted to test this deck to make sure that I knew that every single piece of it was correct before I went ahead and profiled it for you guys. So I'm going to go ahead and jump into this deck profile, and I'll go over a few things during the profile, explaining why I have certain ratios of certain cards. Let's go ahead and jump into it. Right away, we're going to see that we play 3 FLUFFAL Dog. Now, FLUFFAL Dog is obviously the searcher of the deck. When he is normal or special summoned, you can add 1 FLUFFAL or Edge Imp Sabers. He is the card you want to see in your opening hand, along with either a Bear or a Wings, because then you can get your combos going and get draw power and get card advantage, so you can go ahead and try to OTK your opponent on your first turn. If you don't have this in your hand, you do want to try and search it as soon as possible. And we'll go into ways that you can search this later on. Next up, we are playing 3 FLUFFAL Bear. Now, FLUFFAL Bear is one of the key cards of the deck, a card that I have secret here as an alter art. I went ahead and talked about these in another video, so go ahead and check the description for that as well. So you can go ahead and get your own secret cards. So we play 3 FLUFFAL Bear. FLUFFAL Bear is the one where you can discard it to set a Toy Vendor, and Toy Vendor sets up a lot of your plays later on in the game. Next up, we're playing another 3 of in FLUFFAL Wings, 3 FLUFFAL Wings. Now, FLUFFAL Wings and FLUFFAL Bear makes a perfect combo, because when FLUFFAL Wings is in the graveyard, you can target one other FLUFFAL, banish it, and FLUFFAL Wings to draw a card, send Toy Vendor to the grave to draw a card, and then you can go ahead and search with Toy Vendor's effect. So that gives you 2 draws in a search with just 1 little card. So if you have a dog in hand and a bear in hand, or a dog and a wings, you can go ahead and add the other one with dog, and then start getting your plays off, because the more cards you can draw, the more card advantage you have, meaning the faster you can OTK. Next up, we're playing a brand new card from Fusion Enforcers, 2 FLUFFAL Penguin. Now, FLUFFAL Penguin is an amazing card because you can actually normal summon this and then gain the effect of being able to special summon another FLUFFAL. So you can normal summon this, special summon your dog, you can special summon your owl, whatever you need to at the time to go ahead and continue your plays. Also, with this card, when it's used as a fusion summon material, you can draw 2 cards and then discard a card. So that means you can draw 2 cards, hopefully get more cards that you can use in your combos, discard a card you don't need, and then continue on. You can also combo with this by discarding a Toy Vendor or an Edge Imp Chain or something else that you don't really need at the time. So just a really good card as well. Then we're playing 2 one-ofs in FLUFFALs with 1 FLUFFAL Owl and 1 FLUFFAL Cat. Now, I was a huge hypocrite of FLUFFAL Cat a long time ago in old profiles that I did because I hated the card. I thought it was pointless and I would never play it. But with this now, you really want to get your OTKs off as soon as possible, and being able to add back a polymerization to your hand is amazing. And I was stupid to believe that you could play this deck without it. So 1 FLUFFAL Cat, which should be a higher rarity, but we got 1 common FLUFFAL Cat here, as well as FLUFFAL Owl. Now, FLUFFAL Owl, when it's normal or special summoned, you get to add 1 polymerization to your hand, or you can go ahead and pay 500 life points and use it as a polymerization. So that's what you can use if they have an anti-spell fragrance up on the field. You can just get this to your hand, normal summon it, and then fusion summon with it, and then, you know, use Tiger's effect to pop everything, including the anti-spell fragrance. So that's it for all the FLUFFALs. We play quite a lot of monsters in this deck, just because we want to get to them as quick as possible. Next, we are playing 3 Edge Imp Chain. Now, Edge Imp Chain is another great card in this deck. It's going to be even better later on, as soon as Fright for Patrick comes out. I'll explain that later on, because we don't even want to talk about that because it's not out yet. But Edge Imp Chain here allows you to add your Fright for Factory as well as your Fright for Fusion. And those cards really allow you to OTK and just keep your cards a plusin', because in this deck you really just want to do search, 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 fusion, 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 OTK. That's the main point of this deck, and you really want to get that off in turn 1. This deck does not have much stability going first, because you don't really have a turn 1 play, as well as you're not really good at going late game. So if you don't win within the first 1 to maybe 4 turns, you're probably going to lose. Next up, we are playing 2 Edge Imp Sabers here. Now, a lot of people only play 1 Edge Imp Sabers, and I argue with that so much because I feel like if you're going to use a Fright for Fusion and you're running out of resources, you're going to need to banish this guy. You're going to have to banish him for your Tigers or your Wolf or whatever you really need at the time. And I just feel like having 2 in there is safe, because a lot of people are playing DD Crow now. They can banish it, and you don't want that to happen. So playing 2, it's just kind of a safety net just in case something does happen to the first one. Next up, we are playing 3 of the King of the Swamp. Now, King of the Swamp, you can discard to add a poly to hand, as well as it can be a substitute for any of the fusion materials, as long as it's specifically named on the fusion monster itself. So a great card. Once Patrick comes out, we're probably going to drop this down to 2. But this just allows you to search, just like Owl for your poly, because you always want to get those to hand as soon as possible. And the more you have in your hand, along with your edge imps and your fluffals, the more fun you're going to have with the deck. Next up, we're playing our last 2 monsters. We're playing the 2 Maxi, because if they do make you go first, or you're going second, you always want to have this to try and stop their plays if you're going first. And if you go second and you drop a Maxi on them, pretty much what's going to happen is they're either going to stop their play or they're going to go all out. If they stop their play, you're going to OTK them because they're not going to have anything on board to stop you. And if they go all out, you're going to draw enough cards that you're going to have so much card advantage that you're going to win. So either way, as long as you have one of these in your hand and you're able to drop it, you're pretty good with whatever's going to happen next. Moving on to the spells, we are playing 3 of the main card of the deck, Toy Vendor. Now, Toy Vendor, you can discard a card to draw a card, reveal that card, and if it's a Fluffal, you can special summon 1 monster from your hand. Now, it doesn't have to be the card you drew, but you can't special summon anything else in your hand that's special summonable. But this card combos along with Wings because you can banish Wings and another Fluffal to draw a card, send Toy Vendor to the grave to draw a card, and when Toy Vendor is sent to the grave, you can actually search for a Fluffal or Edge Imp Sabers. So it's a really good card to go ahead and just get all your combos off, search as much as you can before you go ahead and start doing all your OTKing. On to the fusions, we are playing 2 Polymerization. Now, I think 2 poly is great, 3 is cloggy. You can search this with so many things right now. When Patrick comes out, you'll be able to search it even more, but you have your King of the Swamps as well as your Owl. So you don't really need any more than 2. Next up, we are playing the 2 Fright for Fusion and the 1 Fright for Factory. Now, Fright for Fusion, you can banish monsters from your graveyard and as well as your field, but you don't really want to do that to Fusion Summon. And then Fright for Factory, you can actually banish a fusion card as long as fusion is name or Polymerization to Fusion Summon. So you can banish a Fright for Fusion to go ahead and Fusion Summon just as if you have a Polymerization in your hand. And what's really cool about this card is when you have, say, a Fright for Fusion in grave and you have Fright for Factory, you can banish that Fright for Factory to use a Polymerization with this. And you can make, say you make Tiger, and you use enough fusion materials to pop all your opponent's cards, as well as you can pop this. Well, if you pop this, when it's sent to graveyard, you can add 1 Fright for Fusion back to your hand that's been banished. So you can add back that same Fright for Fusion you just banished, and then activate it, and just, OTK from there. So, lots of different combos you can do with that. Really good card. You always want to search with the chain for the factory first, because when you're drawing off your Wings and Bear play with Toy Vendor, you're probably going to draw into a Fright for Fusion. Next up, we're playing the 2 Instant Fusion. A lot of people are playing 3. I just think it's cloggy. There's only 2 cards that you're going to be Fusion Summoning with this, and I'll get into those when we get to the extra deck. Next, we're playing a brand new card in the deck, and that is Foolish Burial Goods. Now, Foolish Burial Goods is an amazing card with this deck because you can just activate this to send a Toy Vendor to grave, and you get an automatic search. So, you only want to play 2. I've opened this so many times with 2 of them, or you've drawn into it when you don't need it. But you can just discard. You can activate this and send your Toy Vendor to grave. Toy Vendor effect, add Dog. Dog effect, add Bear. Bear effect, set Toy Vendor. Toy Vendor effect, discard Wings. And then you have so many combos going off, and you get so much card advantage in your hand that there's literally no way you can possibly lose. Next up, we are playing 2 Twin Twister. I was actually playing 3 of these, but it got kind of cloggy, and I ended up always discarding a Twin Twister with a Twin Twister, and I didn't want to do that. I wanted to be able to discard something like a Toy Vendor, or discard something along the lines of Chain. So we're playing 2 of these. This is just hit back row because you don't want to Fusion Summon into a Strike or a Warning or anything like that. You want to be able to pop those quick, as well as Dimensional Barrier. Obviously, if you're discarding a Fluffal or something like that, they're going to know that you're playing Fusions, and they're just going to chain that Dimensional Barrier. But it's better that you do that and have them activated on the Twin Twister than to activate a Polymerization or a Fright for Fusion and then have them activate. Because then you're just losing a Polymerization for no reason. So, great card. 3 is cloggy, I feel like. 2 should be good for now. And then we're playing the 1 Regeki. This is just a board wipe. Sometimes they might have cards on the field that, or too many cards on the field that you can't get around. But with this, you can board wipe. If they get more cards on the field, you can go ahead and hopefully Fusion Summon from there. As well as with Zodiacs right now, they're really good at flooding the field. And if you don't want to Fusion Summon because you're afraid of that Trident hitting your Tiger after it's summoned, you can go ahead and Regeki first, and then you're just going to OTK. It doesn't even matter anymore. Now, I was mentioning before that I do play traps in this. I'm playing 2 traps, and that is just one of the best traps in the format right now, and that's 2-Dimensional Barrier. Now, Dimensional Barrier literally just stops decks in their tracks. I was playing Strikes before, and I love Dimensional Barrier now. I didn't have the money to buy them at first, but I finally got my hands on them, and I fell in love with the card in my last regional. It's just an amazing card, and it literally just stops your opponent. And if they make you go first and you're able to have this in your hand, or you're able to draw it off of your toy vendor wings play, and you can set it, you're probably going to win the next turn because you'll be able to OTK as long as they don't have one themselves. But Dimensional Barrier, just a great card. If you do not have them, I would recommend getting them because they're going to be here for quite a while. And it's just one of the best cards, one of the best traps, obviously, in the current format. Moving on to the extra deck, we're playing 2 of the Sabertooth. 2 of Sabertooth is a great card. Lots of combos, as well as a good defense if you really need it. If you're running low on things, you can fusion summon with 3, and it can't be destroyed by battle. So it's just a great card. So if you are running out of resources, or you're low on a hand or card advantage, make that card sit on it in defense so they can't destroy it. Next, we're playing 2 Fright for Tiger. Fright for Tiger allows you to destroy things. So great to clear your opponent's board before you go on with the OTKing. Next up, we have 2 Fright for Kraken. Fright for Kraken is a brand new card out of Fusion Enforcers. You can target one monster in the field, send it to grave, and then it also has a secondary effect of being able to attack twice per turn, but you can't do that the same turn that you activate the first effect that I mentioned. So what you can do is summon one of these, use its effect to send whatever monster that you're having a problem with on the field to the grave, then fusion summon this big boy right here, and then bring him back, and then it can attack twice. So a really good way to get around that effect of not being able to use the second effect or attack twice. Then we were playing 2 1-ofs in the Fright First. We're playing 1 Fright for Wolf because you only need 1 to OTK, as well as the 1 Fright for Sheep. Fright for Sheep is one of the cards you're going to be using with your Instant Fusion. You can Instant Fusion with that. Now, it can't attack, and it will be destroyed in the end phase, but if you can Fusion Summon with one of these guys, you can bring it back, and that kind of negates that effect. So, great card. Sabertooth really helps the deck as well, so I mean, just great card. The last fusion we're playing in it is the 1 Norden until it gets hit on the ban list. If it does go ahead and get hit, this card, along with Penguin, makes Bahamut Shark makes Toad, and Toad wins games. Moving on to the XYZs, we are playing the Utopias, or Utopia and Utopia Lightning. Gets over beaters that you can't get over normally with this deck if you can't pop them with Tiger. We're playing the 1 Castel because Castel is one of the best XYZ rank 4s in the game. And then we're playing the Bahamut Shark as well as the Toad because 1 Toad is good enough in this, and we're already running low on extra deck space. And the final card that we're playing in the deck is the Hope Harbinger. Now, Hope Harbinger is kind of a turn 1 play. Pretty much what happens is you have to have a Kraken as well as a Sabertooth, so you use Fusion Kraken, Fusion Sabertooth, Special Summon Kraken back, make Hope Harbinger. That's pretty much just because you don't really have a turn 1 play, and if they make you go first, you're kind of screwed. Hoping that they don't know what you're playing, and they want to build a board first. I want to go first, and then game 2 of them make you go, but then you can side into certain cards that allow you to actually prevail going first. So yeah, that is a deck, 40 cards. 40 cards, 15 extra, 15 side. I haven't actually gone into the side yet. Haven't really had to use it much. People don't really side for Fluffals yet, but as we become more prevalent and we start coming out more and being able to destroy everybody's fields, I'm sure that people are going to be siding certain things for them. But that is the deck profile for you guys. If you did enjoy, make sure to give it 2 thumbs up for me, because all your support is greatly appreciated. If you do see things that are different than other people's and you think that would certain cards in my deck would work better than what I have in there, make sure to comment down below for me, because I'm always trying to build this deck in certain ways that I can actually win. And improving it is a way of life. So if I can improve this in any way before patchwork comes out, let me know down in the comment section. But that's all I've got for now, guys. Thank you so much for watching. As always, my name is Nate from the Scrub Academy, signing out for now. Peace out!